when you take most of the projects, most they won't be spending money for, they will not be keeping separate money for soil exploration or site investigation. But nowadays most of the projects approval starts with soil report first of all, because many of the projects have been failed, or many buildings have been demolished, as well as many buildings have been fallen off because the soil is very weak. When you take one of the seven wonders of the world, that is Leaning Tower of Pisa or Pisa, and you take the Leaning Tower of Pisa, why it started to lean? Because because of the loose, very soft clay soil present there. Mala timeல when the rainwater came, the soft clay started to settle down, and because of that the building got tilted. So to avoid accident, unfortunately the building stood for up to 3 floors. 3 stories they have built the leaning tower, and what happened is it started to lean off because the soil couldn't support the building. But fortunately it didn't break or demolish or collapse. So it stood off, and அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் they have improved the soil, and they continued the other stories. So any soil which is left no unnoticed will bring many huge damages to the structures. It will lead to the collapse of the structures, and that is very dangerous to the human beings or mankind. So always soil testing should be there, or soil report should be there to start a building project. Many clients are not ready to spend their money on that, and because of all these things they have to face unwanted problems in the building as well as in the money in the later on. Someone has rightly said that soil is something like stepsons or stepdaughters, like stepchildren. It means, or any children, when children or teenagers are left unnoticed or left சும்மா ரிஜெக்ட் பண்ணி அவங்கள வச்சுருந்தோன்னா they will collapse at one point, or they will அப்படியே வெடிச்சு செதறிடுவாங்க one pointல. Similarly is the soil. When the soil is left unnoticed, when you are constructing a building, the soil will show its true face. It will burst out, and it will show out its true face in the after some years. Okay, so அது buildingsல தெரிய ஆரம்பிக்கும் அதுக்கப்புறம். So always the soil should be tested. So currently a thumb rule is there that at least 2% of the budget of a building project should be spent on the site investigation or soil exploration. At least 2% in the budget should be spent. And as civil engineers we should also tell that we will not design a project, or we will not help in a project, or we will not if you change into contractors, or if you're going to help your fathers in your businesses in the forthcoming days or in your future, you should always take a stand that we will always do soil test, and then only we will construct the building. You should always convince the client towards it, because it is always very good. And in Chennai I have had recently, they are not giving any approval, the CMD is not giving any approval to the buildings or the site without any soil testing. So soil testing is a must literally nowadays in all the cities, and in small villages and towns when you go for residential building also, we should always recommend for a soil testing. Soil testing is a must. So in site reconnaissance, we have seen all these things in the last class. We are going to study about overview of a land, like a map study, drainage, traffic, topography, past flood levels, groundwater table. You're going to study all these details. Second stage is preliminary exploration. In preliminary exploration, we will decide where we are going to put a borehole, where we are going to put a test pit, and where we are going to, how many boreholes we are going to put, and how we are going to collect information below the ground level. So how we are going to, what is the method that we are going to use to explore the subsurface, and that is the main aim of preliminary exploration. We will uh, get an idea about where is the groundwater table, where is the rock stratum, and what is the soil profile present in the ground. We are going to learn about this, and especially what method we are going to choose. There are different methods to know details about a subsurface. For example, as I said, foundation, soil, ellame subsurface is very similar to a human body. To test a human body, we either collect blood samples and test it, and we understand what is the disease. Sometimes we have to take scans, MRI scan, CT scan, different scans are available. In CT scan, MRI scans and all, we don't have to put a syringe, or we don't have to hurt our body to take the information about the what is wrong with our human body. So we just have to take the photograph, example x-ray or CT scan and all. They'll be sending passing rays into our human body, and that rays will detect what is wrong in our human body, and it will show in the reports. So CT scan reports or MRI scan reports or x-rays, they will show what is wrong with the human body without drilling our body or without cutting our body. So similarly, groundல வந்து நம்ம injection மாதிரி போர் போட்டு drill பண்ணி we can study what is present inside the soil. Otherwise, like scanning, there are scanning methods also. There are scanning methods also to understand what is present inside the soil. ஏதோ ஒரு மூவியில் we have seen that groundwater level கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுக்கு they will be using some machines, பார்த்துப்பீங்க, scanning machines மாதிரியே. So scanning machines மாதிரியே we have different methods like electrical resistivity method and geophysical methods. We say it as geophysical methods, seismic refraction method. You have studied in geology actually all these two things. We have different methods to scan the ground without actually drilling or cutting the ground or excavating the ground. We can understand what is present inside the soil. We can understand water level எங்க இருக்கு அப்படிங்கிறதையும் we can understand by means of this geophysical methods. So all these methods we will learn in the future of this class. So preliminary exploration is basically about what method we are going to choose to explore the subsurface. Detailed exploration is we will choose the method, we will drill. If you are going for scanning like method, that is geophysical method, then we go for it and we collect the information and prepare the reports. If you go for boring or drilling, we will drill the ground, collect the samples, and we will test the samples in the laboratory. So all these methods, all these comes in detailed exploration of the soil or subsurface exploration. And we will, what do you test in the laboratory? We will test the engineering and index properties of the soil. So that is what given here. We are going to find the properties of the soil by boring and sampling and then testing. So this is what we will be having. And for multi-story building, dam projects, huge projects, we must explore the soil. We must explore the soil, otherwise our project will be a very terrible failure. So we must test the soil. Okay, so that is about the stages of exploration. Basically three types. One is reconnaissance, second is preliminary exploration, and third is detailed exploration. Okay, next is depth of exploration. What is the depth of exploration? Indian standards are available, IS codes are available for testing the how we are going to explore the soil, or how we are going to explore the subsurface. There are Indian standards for it. Okay, when you take a subsurface, I actually said we should always explore till the rock stratum. We should always drill into the ground till we find the rock below the ground level. Okay, so it is always needed, but some cases it is not needed. For example, if it is only G+1 building project, then it is actually not needed. There are some criteria to choose the depth of exploration. Actually, we are going to construct in that site. We can't put on n number of boreholes, and we cannot test the whole land. Illa whole land you excavate panni, we can't understand what is present below. Okay, so how much excavate land you should excavate, what should be the depth of exploration, and there is a thumb rule for it. And the depth of exploration should be equal to the depth of influence zone. What is depth of influence zone? Means you might have learned about pressure bulb. How will you get a pressure bulb? ஒரு ஃபவுண்டேஷன் இருக்குது அப்படின்னா ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கு ஒரு ப்ரெஷர் பல்ப் இருக்கும். எவ்ரி ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கு கீழேயும் ப்ரெஷர் பல்ப்ஸ் இருக்கும். How will you get a pressure bulb? What is pressure bulb? What pressure is it? When you take soil or water, bothlayume we have both lateral pressure as well as vertical pressure. What is vertical pressure? Exerted from top down. From left to right some pressure will be exerted, that will be lateral pressure. Or vertical direction and horizontal direction, in both the directions pressure will be acting, that we all know. In soil and water it is very important to notice all these two pressures. Sigma x and sigma y will always be present. And how will you get a pressure bulb? Vertical stresses Bosniak equations மூலமா கண்டுபிடிச்சி அந்த vertical stresses நம்ம plot பண்ணும்போது we will be getting a pressure bulb or a isobar. You might have done these problems in the third unit of soil mechanics, finding vertical stresses. The vertical stresses ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு ஃபவுண்டேஷனுக்கும் ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் டெப்த் வரைக்கும் தான் அதோட இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் இருக்கும். லோடால் வரக்கூடிய இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் வில் பி தேர். Okay, that means the load can be taken or scattered only in a particular area inside the ground, and that is called influence zone. For example, if I beat or slap someone in the cheek, what will happen? The cheek will pain. The cheek and the cheek சுத்தி இருக்கக்கூடிய places will be paining for some time. So that is called influence zone. ஒரு இம்பேக்ட்னால எவ்வளோ தூரத்துக்கு அதோட எஃபெக்ட் இருக்கோ, that is called the effect caused due to the impact load. That is called influence zone. Similarly, the load from the superstructure that is taken by the foundation will be transferred to the soil, and that influence will be present, that effect will be present for a particular region. That is called influence zone. So always that depth of influence zone varaikkum da we should excavate the soil. So that excavate the soil. It actually depends on what is the type of the superstructure. G+1 na adoda influence வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும். If it is a G+2 building, அதோட influence வேற மாதிரி இருக்கும். If it is a concrete building, that influence will be different. If it is a steel structure, then that influence will be different. If it is a timber structure, that influence will be different. So it depends on the type of loading or type of the structure, also how much load it is going to carry. If it is a public building, crowd is going to be there, so people are going to be there, so that influence will be different. If it is a school or college building, students oda walking load, live loads irundite irukum, so that load is different. In a residential na or 4 people will be there, so that kind of load will be different. So it depends upon the type of structure, it depends upon how much load it is going to carry, and it depends upon what is the type of soil present. If it is a clay soil, then it has different property. If it is a silty soil, it has different properties. If it is a sand, it has different properties. So all these will have an influence on the depth of exploration or depth of influence zone. ஓகே, அப்போ அதில் ஒரு தம்ப் ரூல் கிடையாதா? இவ்வளோ டெப்த்து தான் நம்ம எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு இஸ் தேர் நோ எனி thumb rule அப்படின்னு if you ask, we have thumb rules like one concept is significant depth. It's a repeated 2-mark question in university examinations. What is significant depth? Significance depth na the depth up to which as I said, when you slap in a cheek, the impact will be around the cheek. That is called depth of influence zone, or the depth up to which the pressure is there. இங்கே ஸ்லாப் பண்ணதுனால, சீக்கில் ஸ்லாப் பண்ணதுனால எவ்வளோ ப்ரெஷர் சைடில் உண்டாகுதோ, எவ்வளோ ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸு சைடில் உண்டாகுதோ, அதுதான் வந்து இன்ஃப்ளூயன்ஸ் ஜோனுன்னு சொன்னேன். அதே தான் சிக்னிஃபிகண்ட் டெப்த். எவ்வளோ வரைக்கும் அந்த லோடுனால ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸு வருதோ, அதுதான் எவ்வளோ தூரம் வரைக்கும் அந்த ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் வருதோ, தட் இஸ் கால்ட் சிக்னிஃபிகண்ட் டெப்த். த டெப்த் பிலோ த சாயில் இன் விச் த load will affect the soil by exerting pressure to the soil or stress to the soil, that depth is called significant depth. Okay, due to the loads, how much settlement and shear stresses are caused in the soil, and the depth varaikkum da significant depth. A thumb rule is there, like if the vertical stress is equal to 20% of the load intensity. For example, if the load intensity is 10 kilonewton per meter square, that is the entire load intensity from a structure. Imagine very small stress intensity na 10 kilonewton per meter square, then 20% of it will be the effect of that structure on the ground. 20% of 10 kilonewton per meter square will be the stress intensity below the ground. அந்த 20% of the 10 kilonewton meter square எவ்வளோ ப்ரெஷர் கிரவுண்டுக்கு கீழே கொடுக்குதோ அந்த டெப்த்து வரைக்கும் தான் we should always excavate the soil. We should always excavate the soil. This depth is called significant depth. So depth of exploration is equal to depth of influence zone, and which is equal to depth significant depth. What is significant depth? It is the depth up to which stresses oda effect will be there due to the load applied. Or in a thumb rule, if you want to say, at the depth at which the vertical stress is equal to 20% of the load intensity applied in the building. So this is about significant depth. Next is number of boreholes. இப்போ சம்டைம்ஸ் when you go for blood sample கொடுக்க போகும்போது different placesலேருந்து they will take blood samples. ஸோ எத்தனை பிளேசஸ்லேருந்து எடுக்கணும்னு they will fix. Similarly, ஒரு கிரவுண்டை எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ண போகும்போது we are going to drill the ground. ஸோ எங்கெங்கே நம்ம drill, it is not something like a small depth like our human body. It is like எவ்வளோ மீட்டர்ஸ் வேணும்னாலும் எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ணிகிட்டே போகலாம். If it is a very big project, very multi-storied structure, அதோட ஹைட் வந்து போய்கிட்டே இருக்கும், 30 meters 28 meters போய்கிட்டே இருக்கும். அந்த அளவு we should also explore the ground. ஹைட்டுக்கு எவ்வளோ போகிறோமோ அவ்வளோத்துக்கு எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ண வேண்டியது வரும். ஸோ ஹைட் ஆஃப் த பில்டிங் அளவுக்கு நம்ம எக்ஸ்ப்ளோர் பண்ண வேண்டியது இருக்கும் எப்போவுமே. ஸோ we should so we can't, it's not something like collecting blood samples very easy like collecting blood samples. It is like we have to drill the ground, ஃபுல்லாக மண்ணுக்குள்ளே இருக்கிறது எல்லாத்தையும் வெளியில் எடுக்கணும். ஸோ for that purpose we should always fix how much is the number of boreholes we are going to drill on the ground. As you all know, it depends on the project, it depends on your budget, also it depends on the soil. Okay. It is always said that most residential buildings only one borehole is enough. Okay. And the borehole enga podano. If it is a small building, then or a residential building, then with G plus 2 or G plus 3 varaikuna, only one borehole is enough. And where should we drill the borehole? If you take a site is a square, ஒரு ஸ்கொயர் சைட் இருக்குது இல்லை ரெக்டாங்கிள் சைட் இருக்குது, சைட்டோட ஷேப் எப்படி இருந்தாலும் அதோட சென்டரில் போர்ஹோலை எப்போவுமே போடணும். where should we drill the borehole? It should be always at the center of the site. Okay, it's center of the site we should always put the borehole. So one borehole is enough for a small building. And if it is a big area, and if it is a big area and its a project is going to be very huge, G plus 3 or G plus 4 or G plus 5 or G plus 11 or அந்த மாதிரி பெரிய ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸாக இருந்துச்சு அப்படின்னா, then we should go for also there is a limit in the area. If it is more than 0.4 hectares, which is 4000 meter square, 4000 meter square விடைக்கும் area is bigger, means then we go for 5 boreholes. How will you put the boreholes? 4 boreholes at the corner of the site and 1 at the center of the site. Okay, so this is how the boreholes are drilled. If it is a small area, only one borehole is enough. The project is also very small, then one borehole is enough. It should be at the center of the site. If it is a bigger area, or if it is going to be area greater than 4000 meter square, or if it is a very huge project, heavy load is going to come, then we have to go for 5 boreholes, 4 boreholes at the corners of the site and 1 at the center. Why corners and center? Because most of the big projects லலாம் எடுத்தீங்கன்னா main columns or the outer columns, main columns that bear the load, and the main columns will come in the corners. So on the areas, that's why we fix the corners boreholes. Center, most of the buildings column ஒன்று சென்டர்லேயும் போகும். ஸோ அந்த சென்டர் காலம் வரக்கூடிய இடத்துல சென்டர் போர்ஹோல். ஸோ that's why we are fixing 4 at the corners and 1 at the center. ஸோ போர்ஹோல்ஸ் இப்படி தான் ட்ரில் பண்ணணும். இத்தனை நம்பர் ஆஃப் போர்ஹோல்ஸ் தான் போடணும். ஓகே, என்னென்ன இன்டர்வெல்லில் போடணும்? What should be the interval? If I said 5 boreholes, okay, what's the spacing between the boreholes? Minimum how much should be the spacing between the boreholes? If it is a 5 borehole, if it is for a multi-story building, at least in every 30 meter interval, 10 to 30 meter interval, we should have one borehole. If it is a highway, road project or railway project, then the boreholes are drilled at every 150 meter or 300 meters. In every 150 meter or 300 meters, we will put a borehole in a highway or a railway project. If it is a dam project, then we should be putting approximately at every 50 meter or minimum 40 meter, maximum 80 meter, or approximately 50 meter we should be at least putting the boreholes. In case of a one borehole இருந்து இன்னொரு போர்ஹோலுக்குள்ள ஸ்பேசிங் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸ்க்கும் டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும். ஓகே, ஸோ if number of boreholes increase ஆகிறது நல்லது தான். அப்படி இருந்தால் we will collect more information about the soil. அப்படி இல்லைனாலும் if you put a more number of boreholes, பட்ஜெட் வந்து எகிரிடும். பிகாஸ் ஒரு போர்ஹோல் போடுறதுக்கே சும்மா அந்த ஒர்க்மேன்ஷிப்புக்கே அந்த மெஷினுக்கே they will be asking for 30,000 கிட்ட. ஒரு போர்ஹோலை நம்ம லேண்டில் ட்ரில் பண்ணுறதுக்கே they will be collecting 30,000 கிட்ட engineers will be collecting. The ground engineers will be collecting. So the boreholes are costly. So you should plan accordingly. Soil profile முக்கியமான columns வரக்கூடிய இடத்துல we should always be testing. And thumb rule is 1 at the center if it is a small area. If it is a huge area more than 0.4 hectares, then we should go for 5 boreholes. We should also look into our budget. Also we should look into the complexity of the site. That is also should be taken care of. Okay, if it is a multi-story building, there are some thumb rules like G+1 போட போறீங்க அப்படின்னா at least 3.5 meter we should excavate the ground, or we should know what soil is present within 3.5 meter, because foundation 3.5 meter குள்ள போட போறோம் if it is a G+1. If it is a G+2 building, then at least 6 meter it should be bored. If it is a 3-story building, we should go for 10 meter boring or 10 meter drilling into the ground. 4th story, then we go for 16 meter drilling into the ground. If it is a 5-story, we are going for 24 meter into the ground. 24 meter into the ground. Okay, so this is